Hey guys, I'm going to go over a few questions, frequently missed questions on your last unit test, the Unit 3 test, and then I'm going to give you some similar questions to try to earn some points back on your unit test. So let's get started. All right, so this question says the table shows the cost of gymnastics membership based on the number of months enrolled. All right, it says which function represents the cost of gymnastics memberships for N months. So looking at the table, let's see if we can find a pattern. So if we do 415 minus 230, the difference between that is $185. If I do 60 minus 415, yes, it's $185. And if I do 785 minus 600, it's $185. So you can see between each month, there is a $185 difference. Well, if month 1 is 230, how much was the initial cost? So if you do 230 minus the 185, which is the difference for each monthly cost, 230 minus 185 is $45. So you're going to have an initial cost, it's like a startup fee of $45, and then each month you have to pay $185. So let's see which one represents this. So this says $45 a month plus $185. All right. This says $45 a month plus $230. This one says $185 a month plus $45 startup fee. So this would be the best answer here. You don't even have to look at this bottom one. The third answer, or C, would be the correct answer. All right, the next question says, a factory manufactures mechanical pencils. The fixed cost per month to keep the factory running is $4,200. So to keep the factory running, it costs $4,200. So you know that's going to be a negative $400 or $4,200, because if it costs that much, that means you're spending that much, so it's a negative amount. Each pencil is sold for $1 and it costs 20 cents to produce each pencil. So $1 minus 20 cents means you make 80 cents on each pencil. All right, so which function represents the profit P for selling X pencils? All right, so you can see all of these are in P of X. So the very first one says 1 minus 20 cents, okay, because X was your pencils. X is selling the pencils. So we already said that 1 minus 20 cents, that's 80 cents, but here it's written as 1 minus 20 cents. And then this is in parentheses, so this negative would be distributed to this number here, which is negative 4,200. And we already said if it costs that much, that would be a negative. So this is probably the right answer. So we're going to say this looks really good, but let's look. This one says 20 cents per pencil. Well, that's not correct. If you sell them for $1 and they only cost 20 cents, you actually are making 80 cents. So that one's not correct. This one says 4,200X. So that's $4,200 per pencil. So that can't be correct. And this one says 20 cents plus 4,200 times X. So this one isn't subtracting anything for this cost right here. So this one also cannot be correct. So the correct answer is A, or the first answer here. All right, the next question here says, Ms. Schreck draws the graph of the box function on the whiteboard. She then asks her students to write the function g of x, which is f of x. So we're going to take this function here and shift it 2 units to the right. Which is the correct function? All right, so remember, if we shift it up or down, it's this number here. If we shift it left or right, it's going to be inside parentheses. So it's going to be x plus or minus something inside of parentheses. So it says it's going to be shifted to the right. So think about from 0, you think about moving to the right, you're moving in a positive direction. But when you move left or right, the sign is always opposite. So this one's not correct because there's no parentheses here. This one says plus 2, shifted to the right, so you think it's going in a positive direction, but you have to have the sign has to be the opposite, because remember, it's always x minus h and then plus k. So this one, the last answer here, is the correct answer. You can see here they have chose the last answer as well. All right, the next question says, several linear models are used to describe the relationship for the data in a scatter plot. For each linear model, the correlation coefficient is found. Which correlation coefficient corresponds to the strongest linear model for the data? All right, remember, if it's strong model, if it's a strong correlation, that means it's very close to 1 or it's very close to -1. If it's very close to 1, it's a strong correlation with a positive slope. If it's very close to -1, it's just trending towards a negative slope, but it still has a very strong correlation. Remember, if there's no correlation, it's close to 0. So the closer it is to 0, the weaker the correlation. And the closer it is to 1 or -1, the stronger. So here we've got 0.98, 0.45, 0.62, 0.84. So the first one, -0.98, is the strongest correlation. All right, the next question says, arrange the list of values in order from weakest correlation to strongest correlation. Select each term and drag up or down to change the position in the list. The table shows the correlation coefficients for 4 approximately linear data sets. List the data sets in order from weakest to strongest. So remember, weakest is closest to 0. Strongest is closest to 1 or -1. So we've got 0.35, -0.78, 0.67, and -0.12. So your weakest correlation would be M. And then the next one would be 0.35, so J. The next one would be L. And the strongest correlation would be -0.78 or K. So to go from weakest to strongest, we just have to go from the smallest number to the largest and kind of ignore the positive and negative signs, because 1 and -1 both have a very strong correlation, where 0 is in the middle of 1 and -1. That means it's a very weak, there's no correlation. So again, -0.15, and then 0.35, 0.67, and then -0.78. So MJLK, MJL, and the last one is K. So those are the correct answers from weakest to strongest. All right, I hope this helps. I want you to go in and try to earn points back on your Unit 3 test. If you have any questions, let me know.